launch facility, and I was down there on some trips on business on the cameras, you would actually cause it to ignite. It was percussive sensitive if you hit it hard enough.
Well, Raymond,
listen,
okay. We've only got about 25 minutes, and I'm going to have you back in, but you've got this big bag of photos, things. Show folks the mug, and then let's get into some of the other things that are going on. Show people your NASA mug.
Well, that's just a personal item that...
I know, but you brought this stuff in. It's interesting.
Okay.
Here, hold it up for the camera. Show folks. Here.
This is one of the items that the people that worked in the Mission Control Center got. I think we paid like $25 for it or something like that. And somebody
Raymond
made a
Teauge,
comment, but it does have my name on it and what it was about. So that is a personal souvenir. But...
well, I appreciate you bringing all these mementos in to everybody.
Like I brought a trailer load of them, but...
cold beer here. Anyways.
Anyway, the contractors all came in with...
go through all the suspicious stuff. I mean, I know you're giving us details how the rockets
They were
work.
going to do it right, and we were going to have a totally reusable shuttle, but the price in... $1970 was going to be in the billions of dollars to get it all done. Now, the thing that y'all have missed that nobody paid any attention to that really just fried me and everyone else was Robert McNamara canceled the production of the Saturn V booster. And when he did that, he killed the space program. It would be more than 10 years, they knew at least, before we had anything that would fly into space, like the shuttle development and testing that had to be done.
The Saturn was an amazing lifter.
That's right. And not only that, but it was relatively inexpensive. It burned kerosene and liquid oxygen, at least for the first two stages. And then the S-4B, the top third stage, propulsion stage of it, was liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. But at any rate, he not only had the production stopped, he had the tooling destroyed and the drawings destroyed. This, to me, amounted to high treason.
Sabotage.
Yes. And I'm sure he didn't do that on his own. They, for some reason, changed their mind about flying heavy objects into space, and we still can't duplicate with the shuttle what the Saturn V would do. Now they're talking about building...
Why did they destroy the Nazi drawings that Werner von Braun did? We know he came up with the Saturn V.
This is one of the big mysteries. They apparently did not want to publicly fly in space like we had been. They wanted to end the lunar program. The last three of the Saturn V's, they put one on display horizontally at Johnson Space Center. They put one at Huntsville, Alabama, Redstone Arsenal, and one at the Cape Kennedy installation. So that was the last three of them.
So this is more evidence of how they've really got another secret program. And now they admit they have space planes, they just won't let us see them.
I personally believe, without any evidence, that was really the start of whatever we have for a secret program, because by that time they developed the necessary biological equipment. You have to keep yourself alive in space if you're going to send men in there, and they have to be... On Apollo, we used pure oxygen at 5 psi, which gave the equivalent, or a little more than the equivalent, of breathing 21% oxygen at 15 psi, or 14.7, the atmospheric pressure. And many of the problems that we encountered were solved, and also computers came along, the integrated circuits and things that were made miniaturization possible and life possible to sustain a human in space, which is one of the most difficult things to do. It is far cheaper to build, like JPL does, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, robots that go out. That way you don't have to carry any food, you don't have to carry any air, water, anything to sustain a human.
Yeah, that's what Dr. Bob Bowman said, is that there's robot craft, and that for at least, what did he say, it'd be about 27 years, that there is already military stealth spaceplane aircraft, and again, they drop solid DU weapons. in the gravity well, so it'd be going about 28,000 miles an hour. And that, now, understand, it's not nuclear. There's not a reaction happening. It's just that the solid core, it's a meteor gun. It's really what it is. That's what he says the weapon platforms they've got are. That's super high classified. He ran that program right before they made it public under Reagan.
Okay, I have never worked on it. I do know these cannon shells. I've been on tests that are made out of DU. You could buy the projectiles at gun shows. In fact, I've handled them, which I shouldn't have. I learned later. Were about 3/4 of an inch or an inch in diameter, and they were about like 14 inches long, but they weighed about 50, 60 pounds, and it's just like a small arrow. But they move. They have a sabot or a plastic case around it, and they can be launched at 5,000 or 6,000 feet per second.
Yeah, the Abrams has that, the Vulcan gun and the A-10.
And they will literally go through both sides of a turret of a tank.
Well, what Bowman said is it's an assassination weapon. You can have somebody, who is 600 feet in a bunker, and you drop one of these solid DU weapons in the gravity well, it gets accelerations you can never get in the atmosphere. And he was talking about 28,000 miles an hour. Can you imagine what that solid DU bomb does at 28,000 miles an hour?
Well, this very, very dense material apparently holds together enough to go through almost anything that is less dense than itself, and it causes enormous destruction.
Well, it's meant as a global decapitation. They can find out whoever they want to kill, where they're at. They got the attack craft all circling the planet at any one time. Supposedly there's quite a few of these babies, and that's when he was there 20-plus years ago. Can you imagine what they've got now, Raymond? And that brings me to the next thing, where we get more into speculative stuff, or what you can or can't say on air. I know you're very nervous doing this, and I appreciate it, Raymond. Going back here, now, if you're working on the Apollo program, they bring back these photos that have to be fake, in your words. What do you think was really going on with the space program then? Because that's what others have said off record, is that this was just a cover for a real space program, and that they could have just been in orbit, and then you guys were fed fake info from another mission control, or how could that happen, Raymond? Or what do you think really happened?
No, I think what we did, what we thought we were doing. I'm just saying that there was probably, kept getting indications to me that the money was really being spent on something else, and that the basic research and ability to maintain humans in an artificial environment existed, but I have no positive proof and did not work on any of it. But let me show you, well, an example. The space station, I worked on several phases of that. And
because we're almost out of time, just cover all the key points. Go.
Okay. The science fiction writers had space stations that were wheels, and these wheels on the outside would be spinning, and you'd have a hub that was stationary in the center that you would dock to, have your solar cells on, and you would have artificial gravity on the outside, so you didn't have to worry about the blood chemistry changes and the effects of being weightless for long periods of time on the crew.
More German technology.
That has not been done to date, to my knowledge. It hasn't publicly been done. As far as these weapons Alex is talking about, I don't know about them, but what makes me very angry is we have, what is the date? I need to put my glasses on that.
This is March 4th, 2008.
The Austin American Statesman. And down here they say, U.S. Navy hits Somali home in attack on terrorism suspect. Well, it just tells where they launched 2 missiles.
At a suspect.
At a suspect. At a cost, these missiles cost at least $1 million apiece, and probably several million, to wipe out some shack and kill not only maybe the suspect if he was there, but also everyone else around within quite a few yards. And Congress has not declared war on Somali. They haven't declared war, and they go ahead, and this is not the only case. They keep hitting things. If they want to blow something away, it is very disturbing to me that we could just go randomly, like if I didn't like somebody in Austin, I go burn their house down or go shoot it up or something, without any real authority to do that. And we've gotten to be...
Oh, it's totally lawless. I mean, there were like 15 news articles last week where they said Okay, the FBI admits they're reading all the emails and everything and no warrants and it's non-terror related and just there's no Fourth Amendment, and then states are announcing, yeah, we're not going to have warrants anymore. I mean, it's